Hello, and in today's episode I'm going to be teaching someone who has never done any pouring before how to make a space themed painting, and this was a special request from Jake from Reddit. And it's not Christmas time, these are just placemats that we're going to use instead of canvas. So I thought that today we're going to do it differently. I invited a guest who has never ever did pouring painting before. So welcome to Mayli the Yogi.
Hello!
And we are going to be painting, space painting, but using a different technique. And we're going to do it at the same time, so hopefully that will be very entertaining. So both of us are going to use white, Mars black, paler blue and ultramarine blue. So apart from these, I'm going to use deep violet by Dalla Rowney. And I'm also going to use magenta. And Mayli, what else are you going to use?
I'm going to be using a metallic tangerine orange from Arteza.
Mayli is going to mix the paint, and obviously she doesn't know how to do it, so we'll have to tell her. So squeeze some paint, maybe like 1/10 of a little cup.
Is that okay?
As my pouring medium, I use PVA glue and water, and I already mixed it here. So if you can put maybe two-thirds of the pouring medium to the paint. You can mix it. Some old sticks. I reuse them constantly. Yeah, so mix it really well. With metallics, you have to be really sure that all the blobs disappear. It's harder to mix metallics than normal paint, normal color. So she's mixing, I'm mixing as well. I'm mixing my pink. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So now you have to add 10 or 20% of Floetrol. I'll do it for you. Squeeze in. And it's quite thick, so we'll see that your mixture gets thicker. Okay, it'll be easier to mix. So both of us are going to use black background. We'll have to lift the painting a bit higher, so if you use these containers. Excellent. Maybe is going to do an open cup pour, and I am going to do a ring pour. So because Mayli is going to do an open cup pour, you can cover just the edges of your little mat with black, and I have to cover all of it in black. I'm going to spread a thin layer, I don't need it thick. So now we are just making sure that the edges are covered as well. So both are covered. I'm going to use a torch, so usually use a chef's torch, just to hit some bubbles, because you can see some bubbles on the surface, just to remove them. And that's it. So now you need to put your little contraption in the middle. Yes, and you need to pour some black paint around it.
Oh crap.
I shouldn't move, yeah.
We're gonna pretend that we didn't see that.
Okay, yeah, we actually probably put a bit more. Yeah. Okay, now you can start putting your paint. So whichever color you want to be first, the color you put in first will be the last one.
Okay. Around
your painting. And I am going to build up my layers. I've got this little silicone cup, so I'm going to layer my colors.
Try some silver.
Oh good, why not? So see how different the paintings will be. And I'm putting a bit of black. I'm just thinking, I've got half a cup. It's quite a lot. You're doing really well.
Yeah,
some really nice cells popping, that's cool. Okay. It's a bit like cooking, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
preparing a meal together.
Should I put some pink in mine? Now I'm thinking.
What do you want in the middle? Because the last color would be the one that will stay in the middle.
Oh, am I gonna be risky?
You want to use some of my pink?
Yeah, is that a risk?
I don't know, just have a go, have a go.
I'm just gonna put a tiny bit. Okay, that's enough. Goodbye.
In the mid, okay.
And then I think I'm gonna, do I need more?
You can be sort of lifting it slightly.
Oh, that's really pretty. Ooh, I'm
think,
gonna add.
Yeah, just spread the black here because it wasn't going too fast this way. Oh, nice. Well, you can add some more if you want to. And once we torch it, probably some cells will appear. That's really pretty. Okay, I think I will start doing it. Now, shall I move my cup around or should I just sort of pour it as it is? I'm not sure. What would you prefer me to do?
I feel like circling it.
Circling, okay. Circling for it. Okay, that's it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm really focusing. Don't want to talk. Oh, there was some blob. It looks again like this pink. This is a really strong color. Oh, it's a strange one. Okay, so what do we do now? Okay, so you lift your very gently, yeah, just like the. Okay. Oh, I like the colors. Look at the color. And mine is so pink. It's impossible. I definitely didn't put that much pink. Okay, so now you are going to, I mean, do you want the middle to stay like this or do you want to kind of spread it?
I kind of want to spread it a little bit.
You want to spread it. So what we'll do, you can use the spatula again or a stick or just, since she wants to spread it around, so I'm suggesting using something like a small piece and just dragging it like a vortex around. And while you're doing this, I am going to try to spread my
Do I now?
Yes, you can sort of gently do what I'm doing.
Okay.
However, I've noticed, where is my white? I did white. I did use white.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so kind of tilt it. Try to keep it. My hands, look at my hands. Okay, so you are going to torch yours now, just very gently. You have to move really fast, not too close because you don't want to cook the paint. Yeah, so press this. She's never touched it before.
Yeah.
So just, okay, press it and just really...
Oh, and just really quick.
Yeah. That should release some of the paint underneath, you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got some stars, yeah. I actually don't want to do it to this one.
It's gonna ruin the pattern.
I don't know. Should I or not? Yes? Okay. Just a little bit, maybe. Won't be much. How different are the results?
I know.
Goodness me. And to be honest, guys, this is not the end. This is just the background because we are going to add something to it later on. So I wonder what you think now. I think this student was much better than the master here, definitely. I love what you've done. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'd call it a successful first pour.
That's definitely a very successful. I really love the colors here.
Yeah.
Oh, the changes, beautiful. You already have some like planets ready.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And my ring pour is definitely not that exciting. But it's just a darker background for something to happen later on. Our pours are getting dry now and we've decided to add some other elements, painted elements. So we are going to add planets and we are going to add some spaceships. Now Maylee, which one did you pick for yours?
I decided I'm going to be painting the Millennium Falcon.
Well, my son thought we have too much fun, so he decided to contribute and he's going to paint the TIE fighter. Oh, by the way, I know it might be a bit difficult to paint a spaceship, so if you think you can't do it, you can always print an image, cut it out and stick it onto the pour. Now the ship is lovely and it's ready to be stuck onto the background. I'm going to show you what I used to make some planets. So what's very useful are the old acrylic skins when you do some pouring and perhaps it drips down, or you may just do it on purpose. So I use these to cut out certain shapes. And I started on this one, you can see. And now I actually cut loads. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to look at them and sort of position them in places and see if I like them or not, and which one will go with which painting. Now I'm going to use PVA glue just to stick the planet, taking a bit of glue on the brush. For this one I also have some smaller planets. I thought it would be nice to create a bit of depth. I have to be super careful because this is quite thin. I'm just going in one direction. I picked a small planet because I think it looks like the ship is coming from this way and there's this trail behind it. So now I'm going to put a planet in the distance as well. When you're painting a planet, if you want to make it realistic, you have to think of a light source. So think, what does the light come from, which side? So because my ship is lit on those edges, so the light source will be here. So I'm going to make these parts of the planets lighter and the back darker. So as you can see, I made this edge significantly darker than the rest of my planet. I think that will create some kind of 3D effect. Now we want to do the opposite on the other side, so this part I'm going to use a bit of silver. I'm just going to make my planet a bit lighter here. So this little trick makes things look more round, more like a real planet. Well, what do you think? I think it looks more 3D now, so we'll leave it. Now it's time for resin, so they'll be all nicely coated. I'm going to use my heat-resistant resin, which is Ultra Cast by Elichem. And you use 2 parts of this resin to 1 part of hardener. So I'm going to use 60 ml of resin and 30 milliliters of hardener. Now I'll spend 3-4 minutes mixing it really well, making sure all the edges are scraped off nicely. Before you apply your resin, you have to make sure that your painting is perfectly level and that there's no oil residue, so I just wiped mine off. Pour it in the middle and I'm going to spread it towards the edges. I just realized that I wasn't using the gloves. You should always use gloves, especially when you're doing the edges, because you might want to check the edges just with your finger, gloved finger. Okay, so once this is done, I'm going to pop the air bubbles, and this is my chef's torch. I'm going to repeat the process maybe in 15 minutes to make sure that there are no air bubbles forming. And now time for the second one. Because the purple painting is so dark, I've decided to add some glitter to make some sparkly stars here in the background. So I'm just going to put not too much. I don't want the stars on my ship though, so I'm just going to use the clean resin on the ship. Wow, this one is so shiny, full of stars. Okay, I'm going to pop the bubbles and then I'll take it to a close-up. Now this is the close-up of Mayli's one. Look at the beautiful background. And resin is extremely difficult to film because of a glare, but you can still see how pretty it is. I think she did an amazing job. Look at all the colors. And now this is the ring pour painting. And this is my son's spaceship. You can see it from the distance. And if you think, oh, she hasn't painted anything, well, I'm going to show you the previous one I painted. It's not Star Wars, it's Star Trek. So this is my Voyager that I painted before. And the technique was the same as Mayli's. It was a floating cup with some planets and my Voyager. I wanted to show you the finished product. So the resin is all dry now. You can see how shimmery and shiny it is. Well, I'm really in love with this one. She did such a good job, didn't she? And this one, cooperation with my son. Well, please tell me what you think. I will not be offended if you tell me that hers is so much better. So please leave a comment and press like if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.